I mean, what's the meaning behind this? I don't know who Jim... Oh, I don't know who Jim Skinner is. Apparently he's the owner of McDonald's. He's the former owner of McDonald's, sorry. I think that Ray Kroc is probably the lawyer that I was talking about. Because, yeah, he must be, because the actual original McDonald's owners that I was talking about, you might be surprised to find they were actually called McDonald. Shocking. So Ray Kroc is that dirty man. I wanted to note, yeah, I took note of this here and I wanted to see more of it. Jim Skinner, McDonald's Wiki. The fandom-powered McDonald's Wiki. Powered by the McDonald's fandom. Let's see what the McDonald's fandom has to say about the former CEO of McDonald's. Whoa, yikes. This is some design. James Allen Skinner is an American business executive. Now he's Walgreens, but he used to be McDonald's. Skinner was that. He was a restaurant manager trainee in 1971. Humble beginnings, Mr. Skinner. You've got your tie now. Your polka dot tie. I'm surprised that they allow that. Or maybe they're getting ever so slightly looser these days with the formalities. Probably not much though. I imagine ties, as much as I despise the things and what they stand for, will most likely remain with us for a good few centuries. Not going anywhere. There he is. He started out like many other teenagers, was as a crew. Yeah, I've noticed they call the minimum wage slaves at McDonald's the crew. Once again, society using language, society changing words to make it sound like they've done something that means something when they haven't. They've just changed the language we use to describe the minimum wage slaves that would not be where they are if it wasn't for the fact that they can't find anything else to do. Is there anybody that would choose to work at McDonald's for any reason other than that they need a job and they aren't qualified to do anything but work at McDonald's? Is there somebody that has a passionate about McDonald's? I want to be a McDonald's burger person. I was born for this. Well, there's nothing good here anyway. So that was my little voyage into being a respectable man. Much like Jim Skinner here, my hero, my role model. That right there, a receding hairline man. Well, I've got that covered actually. I've got the receding hairline. It must be genetic, so that's good. But yeah, I aspire to be this receding hairlined, affected, smiled, suit and tie wearing, or respectable manager of a respectable business that respectably respectables every day in his respectable way. I'll bet he leverages all his core competencies. He upholds all of his core values of the Carphone Warehouse. Well, he doesn't run the Carphone Warehouse. It doesn't mention the Carphone Warehouse in his history, but if he did run the Carphone Warehouse, then by goodness, he would represent the values of the Carphone Warehouse to the best of his ability. He will truly know the meaning of strategy realignment, which is a good thing because nobody else does. And he takes his jacket off indoors. When Jim Skinner comes home from a hard working day at the seat at a desk, he comes home, first thing he does after he shouts, "Honey, I'm home," is he hangs his jacket up on the coat hanger so that he gets the benefit if he goes outside again. And then he goes and kisses his wife came towards him because he's a businessman, so his wife is a housewife, and she kisses him and tells him what she's baking for dinner. Yeah, dinner. He's a businessman, so dinner. And little baby Billy, little Wayne, no, not Wayne, he's a businessman. Little Sue Parker in the living room is playing with her toy balance sheet, which he bought her for Christmas, and comes and says, "Hello, Daddy," and shows him the balance ledger that she made with the balance sheet, and He laughs and smiles and pats her on the head and says, "One day, little Sue Parker, you're going to grow up to be a fine businesswoman, just like your father." And then Jim Skinner goes into the and then Jim Skinner goes into the living room and sits down at his desk and starts reading the Daily Mail paper that he'd bought, that he'd put there earlier that day, like I was saying earlier. Despite him being American and not reading British newspapers, he reads the Daily Mail, shakes his head and tisks when he reads about the Polish man that did something unsavoury that's on the front headline, and mutters something under his breath about it. Something about how some people should get back to somewhere. I don't know. And then he reads the paper. He laughs at the Garfield comic strip. Yeah, that's right. And then after his wife brings in the steak that they're having for dinner, which they're eating at the main table, and which they'll have napkins and proper knives and forks to eat, then they eat the steak, and he goes back out to the front garden, which he puts his jacket back on to do. He repaints his white picket fence, and then mows the lawn with his mower, and he goes back into the house, immediately takes the jacket off again, looks up at all of his paintings of respectable things and realigns a couple of them, and then goes over to the bookshelf and picks up his accountancy techniques for accountants book, which he's got, that he reads. And he reads that while the television is showing the 6 o'clock news, and then after which Bargain Hunt comes on and he watches that. And then after all that's said and done, he goes upstairs, puts his pyjamas on, puts his white and blue vertically striped pyjamas on, brushes his teeth, washes his face, in that order, and goes to bed with his wife. And then he says to his wife, "Night, dear. Good night, dear." And she says "good night, dear" back to him, and he reaches over to the side of the bed and turns off the lights, and then they both roll over to the opposite sides of the bed from each other and both go to sleep. And then the next morning, after his cup of coffee, he's up bright and breezy and early for another fresh day of being a businessman who wears a suit and tie and works at Walgreens. What is Walgreens, anyway? Do we get... Yeah, Walgreens Inc. What on earth are they? I'm guessing they're linked to Walmart, because of the wall. I don't know what the wall in Walmart even stands for. I'm guessing the original owner was called something Wall. Charles Wall. Terence Wall. Or maybe that was the name of the lawyer that bought out the original Walmart and killed the original owners. The Walgreens Company is an American company that operates as the second largest pharmacy store chain in the United States behind CVS Health. It specialises in filing prescriptions, health and wellness products, health information, and photo services. Yeah, the spot the odd one out there. As of August 31st, the now. Is it Walmart? That's the question. Mart. Medmart. It's not Walmart. Alright. Okay, we're finally time to stop talking about this nonsense. I'm 30 years old, and I couldn't care less about anything that I'm supposed to care about. When I am over 50, and I'm due to claim my Michael Parkinson life insurance plan, I won't be collecting my Michael Parkinson plan, because I'll still be doing commentaries on small children's cartoons, and being myself. And you can take that claim to the bank, and cash it in, just like Jim Sterling cashes in his 6-figure salary paycheck, which he doesn't get anymore because he doesn't work at McDonald's. Well, he works at Walgreens. I don't know what I was getting at with that. The point is that rest yourselves all well, and I look forward to seeing you all when you're my age.
You've got to have money.
That was the Tom and Jerry director's cut. They shortened it in the actual movie, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, cool. Oh, banana. Banana. Oh, banana. Oh, banana. Banana. Ooh, banana.
Yeah. If there was a remake of Donkey Kong 64, I wonder if they'd have to redo the voice acting. Would they have to give him a different voice? Because if they did as good a job with that as they did with Taz the Elephant in the Diddy Kong Racing remake, it would end up looking... DK would end up sounding like... Oh, banana. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Whoa. Boy. Because the Taj guy is just pathetic in the remake. He just doesn't care at all. This is for you. Hello, friend. Bye-bye for now. It's not even that. It's more like, bye-bye for now. Hello, friend. This is for you. I think they just didn't want to have the his potentially offensive, exaggerated Indian accent that he had. I think his exaggerated Indian accent that he had in the original, like the really stereotypical Indian genie voice that he had, might be considered offensive now. I assume that's the reason they changed it, because there's no other good reason for them to have changed his fantastic voice. Well, I got to stop talking about that nonsense now, because I forget, I'm over 30 now, I'm an old person. None of that video game nonsense here. This is like chartered accountancy central for me now. Everywhere I look, all I can see is balance sheets and traffic warden tickets and newspaper headlines about illegal immigrants and colours that aren't nice and bright and good to look at, and people that are wearing suits and ties and don't have anything about them that would not be acceptable in a social setting. So, enough of that. And I guess the timing is good, because I'll be honest with you folks, I'm a very independent living person. I like to be in control of my life. I like to be able to open my own front door and water my own garden and make my own food and cook my own laundry and do my own Polynesian polka dots and generally live like a normal human being. But, in recent times, I've got to be honest, my arms have started to be getting a little more tired. I've been feeling a bit weak recently. It's not quite so easy to balance those begonias as it used to be. Taking the washing out of the laundry basket, taking the washing out to be put up to dry, which is something we do in Britain. Taking the washing out of the washing machine to put out to dry, which is something we still do in Britain for some reason, is getting more and more of a chore. My back hurts. I'm walking along and then I go, ooh, and arch my back and rub it with the back of my hand. Rub the back of my back with my fist. Go, ooh, my back. I say that, not with that accent though, but anyway, I do all those things. So what I'm getting at here is that my body is perhaps not quite what it used to be, and I would never, if you'd asked me this any time before now, I would have just laughed it off immediately, but you know what, I think I'm finally willing to admit this now. I think it's time that I consider going into a care home. Now, care homes are places where generally elderly people go to live when they don't think that they can really look after themselves anymore, and when their family don't feel that they can look after them themselves either, or that you might be able to get people to come to the house and care for you for maybe like an hour a day or something like that, or maybe at set times of day, like in the morning to get you out of bed and at night to get you back in bed. But if even those brief little periods of the day that they're there for you, if even that isn't enough, then you might have to go into a care home eventually before you die. And so that is... I never thought this would happen to me. We never think it's going to be us, do we? It's always someone else. But no. I've seen the error of my ways, It's not just someone else. Sometimes it really is you that is the person that has to go to a care home. So, well, so here we are. Here I am, looking up from the internet. But it's okay. This is a frightening thing for a lot of elderly people, I'm sure, having to leave their home and get taken into a building where a bunch of strangers look after you instead of yourself or your family. But it's not so scary as it looks. I mean, there are occasionally some nursing, some care homes will have some bad stuff that goes on in them. And, I mean, yeah, that's going to happen sometimes, but that sort of thing can happen anywhere, in any institution. That could happen at your nursery. The children you drop off into the little children's care centre might do something outrageous. You can't go through your life frightened that that's going to happen to you just because you read it in a newspaper. And besides, I don't have to worry too hard because I can use the internet to find out about these care homes before I go there and read the inevitably not at all biased information leaflets. So, without further ado, let's have a look at the care homes in the United Kingdom so that I can make an informed decision about which care home should take me in. And we'll look that up, I think, on the NHS website. That's a good start. The NHS, if you didn't know, is it's a British health... Oh, my back. Excuse me. Oh, my pinky. Pinky got hurt when I was rubbing my back. Oh, the middle section of my pinky. Oh, did you hear a pop there? Because my elbow literally just popped. Well, I'm at the bit above my elbow, whatever part of the arm that's called. There'll be a name for that. That made a pop sound. So yeah, that proves beyond all shadow of doubt that it's time for me to go into a care home. And here we are. NHS. So the NHS is the British version of Barack Obama's health system, from what I've heard in the news. Obamacare. The NHS is the British Obamacare. We've got a nationalised health service, which is literally the name of it, the National Health Service actually, NHS. So whenever somebody's feeling a bit ill in Britain, or more commonly, if somebody stubbed their toe, or chipped a nail, or possibly broken their leg or something, then they make a free appointment with the doctor, completely free. They make a completely free appointment to see their local doctor, and then 3 months later they go to see the doctor, and the doctor examines them and asks them some questions, and then possibly they'll give them a diagnosis. They'll decide that the person should get a prescription to get some medicine, where the doctor writes a note saying this person can legally get this medicine at this chemist here. So you go to the chemist and get your medicine to take care of your chipped nail. I shouldn't be laughing at that. I didn't laugh at any point in that. But, well, I broke my nail when I was, as a child. I was riding on a skateboard with some friends, and somehow I put my nail underneath the wheel as it was riding, and my nail came half off. That was painful. But anyway, that's all over now. So it can be painful, bad. But, well, I think I've read actually chipped nails can be bad in general. But, well, the care homes... No, I'm still talking about the NHS. The doctor will... I mean, I'm trying to salvage something funny in all this doctor stuff here, but I'm not feeling it right now, but I don't care. The doctor gives you the prescription, or they might realise that because they're a general practitioner, or a GP, if the doctor is a GP, they might not be qualified to diagnose your broken leg, or whatever, your split shins, or your calf muscle thigh practically. So, they'll refer you to a specialist, like a foot specialist or a neck specialist. And then, 3 months after that, you get to see them. And they'll proceed to fail to fix you, probably. I've got to say, I'm a bit cynical towards doctors. I feel a lot of people in Britain, actually, from what I've been picking up over the years. I, like many others, have never really been helped by a doctor. That's not quite true, but more often than not, whenever I went to a doctor about anything, then they didn't do a blooming thing to help. Well, they tried, but nothing happened. I might as well have just sat and waited for it to go away. There was one thing I had a while ago, a big saga, showing my age here. So this is all evidence for me needing to go into a care home. There was a thing about 10 years ago, and I found out I had an anal fissure. And if you don't like the sound of that, then you can turn the sound off for 5 minutes or however long this rant goes on. I got an anal fissure, which meant that, and I only found that out when I went to the doctor, it meant that my backside, my rear, my rump, whatever you want to call it, the bottom, had some kind of thing in the inside of it that was sore. And it was especially sore when I sat down for a while, which is something I spent a lot of time doing because I had to go to university lectures and things. So basically I spent really quite a lot of my life in a fair bit of pain thanks to this thing. And the doctor gave me some medicine that was oddly to be it was supposed to be rubbed on the heart. She gave me a prescription for that, and I went to take it to the chemist, but then when the chemist checked the label, they said that it was 10 times the 10 times the dosage that it should have been. The thing had 10 times the strength it was supposed to. So the doctor actually made a mistake with that, so I might have well been killed if the chemist hadn't spotted that. But I took that thing and nothing happened, and I took these, what they called suppositories, which are these big white pill things that you literally have to shove up your backside. You have to ram the things into your back passage. And I dealt with that. I don't remember that being a problem. I did that. And that didn't help either. Nothing happened. And then they put in an appointment for me to see a specialist about that as well. And then that appointment didn't come to light until about literally 5 months later. And by that point, it had gone away itself after like 4 months. And when I went to that appointment, I literally just told the guy it's gone away. And he checked my backside. And he said, yeah, it has. And that was it. That was the end of that story. The doctors did not do a thing for that fissure. Just as they've never done a thing for anything to me. Those crazy doctors. So anyway, I had an anal fissure when I was 20, so I'm right for care home. Just sign me up to this care home right now. I can't take care of myself anymore. Care homes. If you're looking for a residential care home, there's a huge variety of options. They include. So the long and the short of this is that if there's anybody that's qualified to tell me about how I should to give me advice on what care home to use, then it's certainly not the NHS from my experience with doctors. But whatever, I'm going to go to them anyway. Always give people a second chance, folks. An open mind is an open body. If you're looking for the care home, then care homes for your older people, that's me, care homes for younger adults with disabilities, and care homes for children. Care homes may be privately owned or run by charities, they vary in size. Is a care home right for you? Going into a care home is a major commitment. It involves changing where you live and potentially paying a lot of money for your ongoing accommodation and care needs. Yeah, that's something they don't bring up much. Care homes are blooming expensive, kids. Here's some advice for you. If your grandmother's going into a home, they'll probably be expected to pay £40,000 a year, or like $60,000 a year. And I am not making that figure up. That's the kind of money you deal with. So since most human beings obviously can't afford to pay that kind of money for any more than like 1 year, if that, then what happens is they just get it paid for them, but only after they've been completely stripped of all the money that you would have been getting as an inheritance. So all of you unscrupuled, skull-rufferous scallywag youngsters watching this that are hoping to just bung your parents into a care home when they get older and wipe your hands of them, well, just be aware that you're gonna lose your inheritance if that happens. There's even been stories of people having to sell their houses to pay for this stuff, so you might not even get the family house. So take that into consideration if you were going to do that. If you were going to do the shameful thing of putting your parents into a care home. Actually, I don't care about this. Okay, I think what I should actually do, if I want to find anything that worth commentating on, is go to an actual care home's website and see what we see.
Just like in catchphrase, we'll say what we see. Say what we see, Jim lad. Aye.
That show would have been much more interesting